Welcome one and all to the Back of the Nest preview podcast. This week it's a ticket to ride along with Patrick Vieira's magical mystery tour up the long and winding road that is the M6 to face Premier League pace setters Liverpool. Will it be misery or will it be roll over Beethoven? The Palace boys are getting better. Albert and Skip are with me, so let's get into it. I don't know. I typed into Google what is Liverpool famous for, and it just said the Beatles.
Did you have to Google that?
Well, I was trying to look for something a little bit more. I don't know. It said a large port, and I was going to start making jokes about drinks, but
That gout.
Well, you're the professional there, aren't you?
I don't get paid for it, mate.
Well, you've heard professional opinions about gout.
Yeah. If I did get paid for every time I had gout, I'd have about 14 quid, which I'd spend on painkillers.
Right. I'm going to drink some beer. So this week I am finishing off the Lewis Dunkel beer. So it's the last of the beers sent from Germany. So thank you, Carsten. This one looks very dark.
Nice.
Hesketh, you were late. You said you've had a shit show today, so I'm assuming it's a large glass of wine.
Yes, it's actually about a fifth of a now flat bottle of sparkling water. So, as Samantha said beforehand, it's just water.
I thought one of my favourite tweets I ever saw was talking about how only psychopaths drink soda water or fizzy water. Yeah. Adds up.
It does.
Albert, what are you drinking?
Well, it's just dawned on me this might be a bad omen. Because I'm drinking Peroni. No, I'm drinking Peroni, but I'm drinking Peroni Rosso, which for the Italian speakers among you, it's the red one, isn't it? And we're playing Liverpool, and I was just eating some ready salted Pringles, red tube, and quite uncharacteristically for me, wearing a red fucking t-shirt as well.
Wow.
And even worse, just before recording, you were watching RedTube.
What's that?
Other porn sites are available. I don't know.
How many do you need?
Last week, you put me on the spot and made me come up with a Ponzi beer blurb for Aki Realiati. So we're going to run with this for a couple of weeks, see how it works out. So, and whoever the opposition is, we've got we'll pick a player that played for both sides, and you've got to come up with a beer blurb. So this week we're going Mamadou Sakho, and the reason I'm going Mamadou Sakho is my mate bought a house recently and put a pub at the end of his garden, then went to do some beer brewing and made his own beer called the Sack Attack. So perhaps this blurb could go on the back of his beer.
Well, I've gone with Mama Brew.
Nice, I like it.
With background notes of Hygenomine, look it up, and a hint of what the fuck is he doing. This strong, intense brew will have your heart in your mouth while simultaneously making your ring pull twitch.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I want to drink it. Sounds delicious.
There you go.
So it's an 8.6 on Untapped.
Yeah.
You only go out of 5 on Untapped. So 4.6, 4.5. What's the strength of it?
Very strong. Very strong. Very strong. Okay. But you can only drink about 4 of them in a season.
They're very expensive as well, I take it.
Hard to come by, yeah. Yeah.
Only, poor old Mamadou. If only it could have stayed fit for more than a week at a time. Oh, well, right. We're going to start this week with, Hesketh hijacked us before we got on the air and saying that Frank de Boer's agents made a statement. Look at him scrambling now like he didn't know that he should be ready with this.
Well, Frank de Boer's agent, whose name sounds like a completely made up in the know that you see over summer, his name's Guido Albers. So I'm pretty sure that's not a real name. But Guido Albers has confirmed that Frank de Boer has no more ambition left to continue as a manager. So I think supporters around the world are united in devastation about that, I would have thought.
No more ambition. It's such a weird word to use.
Do you reckon he's going to go Brighton?
just while we're here, I just want to announce that I've got no ambition to marry Kelly Brook either anymore. So
talking of Kelly Brook, haven't they started doing the big breakfast again?
They have.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yes. Well, I know Mo Gilligan was on it. I said 2 weeks in a row Mo Gilligan's made it onto the show somehow. But yeah, I saw something about it. I used to love that show when I was a kid. But in the main because Kelly Brook was on it and I was a horny teenager. But
wasn't for Zig and Zag then?
Don't know, when you're a teenager. Just me then.
Didn't Zig and Zag release like a song?
Dem Girls.
Do you remember how it went?
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah,
he definitely does.
Yeah, but I think you have to do a bit of a culturally inappropriate accent, which I'm not prepared to do. So I'm gonna leave a pause here for Sam to put it in after.
Are you saying that Zig and Zag, Dem Girls didn't stand the test of time?
Yeah, I think it lasted about 5 days.
It's not going to make a Robert Peel anthology anywhere or anything like that.
No, sadly not.
Well, poor old Frank de Boer. No ambition left. I suppose that means it kind of puts it off like he achieved his ambitions. So to be the worst Premier League manager of all time and to get Netherlands, unceremoniously dumped out of the Euros early doors.
He's very good at being shit. He's just really, really good at what he does, but what he does is not what anyone wants. So it must wear on him.
Well, we'll always have the Ibiza memories and the club constantly tweeting pictures of his brother instead of him. And that Scott Dad miss at Burnley that saved us all.
Forever a hero.
Talking of retirements, there was another retirement today, which was jelly and ice cream for everyone when it comes to me. Grant Ledbetter retired from football. And long-time listeners of this show will know that I've had a long-standing beef with Grant Ledbetter ever since he scored that penalty for Ipswich in front of the Homesdale.
Oh, and then shit, I remember that.
Run to one side of the goal, running away from the Ipswich fans before running behind the goal in the front of the Homesdale, all the way down towards where the away fans used to be, giving it large. And I never let it go. Ever.
He'd be a good candidate for a craft beer, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but it sounds more like what an old boy who vaguely smells of piss would drink at the end of the bar for like £1.80 a pint.
The guy who's mysteriously disappeared from the Clifton.
I haven't been in the Clifton for years.
They've got their own craft beer now, mate.
What's it called?
Clifton Craft Ale, I think. I didn't have it. They've got wooden floors. It doesn't smell as bad. But, and I'm sure we'll come onto the game shortly, but when we were in there after the game against Tottenham, a bloke just leaned out the door when we were in the back garden, was sick on the stairs, and then just popped back in.
Those stairs are dangerous as well at the best of times. I remember them getting wet and slippery and people always falling on their arse out there.
Yes.
Slippier now.
Exactly. Much slippier.
Is the beer garden still full of wasps, or have they moved the bins so that don't happen anymore?
They've moved the bins. It's actually... it's weird to say it because it's the Clifton, but it's actually all right now. But anyway, yeah, the guy who was... Go on. I was going to say, the guy who was sort of stuck to the seat at the end of the bar for the last, 15 years is no longer there. So I think under new management, he maybe went in the bin as well.
I don't know. Those ceilings are really low in there. Bit of a COVID hellhole.
Sure. Don't say that.
Don't say that. But anyway, so Grant Ledbitter's gone. I am delighted. Being a Sunderland fan he is, I hope that his retirement is full of Newcastle defeats, basically. Every single North East derby made Newcastle pepper Sunderland all across the Tyne. 8.6 million people apparently watched Cristiano Ronaldo's debut. I mean, I don't even know how this makes sense. It seemed like the weirdest stat in the world. But they were all boasting about how it broke all sorts of records. Albert, 1998, Crystal Palace against Sheffield United. Fan Zihai and Sun Zihai making their Palace debuts puts that to shame.
Was that a midweek game?
No, it was like a Sunday 1 o'clock or something, wasn't it?
Well, that's why I've asked you, because I clearly don't know.
It was a weekend game. Someone might correct me. It was on. I feel like it was on TV as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it was.
But we blew our shot. A chance to gain 100 million fans, and we lost 1-0 to Sheffield United. I wonder if Sheffield United actually gained any fans that day.
How many people watched it?
Well, they forecasted 100 million people in China would watch it because it was broadcast in China.
That's what they forecast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, mate. I mean, how many people normally watch football? What's the average viewership of the Premier League? No, just like they're saying 8.6 million people watch.
No, I think it's really low. 1 million normally watches a Premier League game. Depending on who it is, it probably can get up a bit to more like 2.5, but it's limited by Sky subscribers or BT subscribers, right? It's a bit of a different story if it's on TV. So when Project Restart happened and we played Bournemouth, I think that was up there in one of the most watched Premier League games of all time because it was the first time it had been aired on free-to-view TV.
What a delight it was.
I feel like some sort of weird anorak.
I don't know if you've followed your own sort of social media career for the past 20 years. This is awkward.
Oh no. I've spent many a time trying to spot Hoskins' steam train on platforms.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that's 8.6 million people. Fair enough. How many people watched us smash Spurs?
Well, again, I would guess that's in the higher, a bit under 1 million, maybe just a bit over 1 million because of BT subscribers. I really don't know. That's me. I'm guessing there.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching it because I had about 6 Spurs fans in my house watching it. So as you can imagine, I was very ungracious, for every goal and was giving it all probably a bit. I mean, 4 of them were 7 years old. They've got plenty of time to get over it. But yeah, it was quite a nice way to spend a Saturday afternoon, inviting a load of people round to then watch their team get slaughtered live on TV.
Come to my house and get sworn at and ridiculed.
Yeah.
BYOB.
Have a hot dog, but have a hot dog, which I did provide.
Yeah, and you didn't have to.
Didn't have to. Good onions as well.
They should be thanking you if anything. To be
they
honest.
should. There's a couple of Arsenal fans there as well who were cheering all the Palace. So I had some allies. I had all the Arsenal, so all of them, 2 of them, giving it large whenever we scored to the Tottenham fans. That was quite nice. Brothers in arms. Did
you see the videos doing the rounds of Arsenal fans half-heartedly singing a Vieira song in the Emirates when they were watching? I think Palace had just taken the lead, taken a 2-0 lead in the game, and they were watching it, and it was embarrassing. Even when they're trying to take the piss out of Tottenham, they've got no atmosphere.
Yeah, well,
sad times.
That's a whole other story. When they come in and nick our manager, we won't be laughing then, will we? So
Well, not that many people watched our academy smash Leicester 6-1 due to, I don't know, Premier League restrictions still go against us being able to broadcast it on your membership, for example, Hesketh.
I know. Not only do I not get my season ticket, but I also don't get to watch the things that I bought the membership for. Disgrace. And do you know what?
What was it? Was the game at, I was going to say Filbert Street, was it at the King Power?
Oh, I don't know.
Training ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, so if it's a training ground, I just don't get it. Why can't it be shown?
Do you know what, Terence? Start a little list for points of view. Join me. Put that number 1.
We've tracked down Anne Robinson. She's on countdown now.
Yeah. Confirmed is on countdown. She's running scared. This is going to continue all season until she answers me.
I won't type into Google Anne Robertson POV. Not sure that will give me what I want to see.
No. Nor the big, nor the big ones from the top either.
Oh, it'd be quite the conundrum. What? Who is presenting points of view these days? We've established it's not Anne Robertson or Terry Wogan.
Fill some time.
I mean, we ruled Terry Wogan out early on the grounds that he's dead.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not too many presenters away from it being Jeremy Clarkson or something.
Could be Mo Gilligan.
It's someone called Nikki Chapman.
Hang on a minute. She the old pop stars judge.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There she is. Had a little thing for Nikki Chapman. Circa 2001.
Well, she's gonna get a little thing from me as well, but it'll be my list of complaints. Leave that there, Albert. You leave that there.
But no, brilliant performance in the academy. Of course, Leicester went down to 10 men very early doors. But who was it? It was 3 braces. Was it? Omalabu got 2, Raksaki got 2, and
Street got 2.
Street got 2, and didn't Elise sort of make them all?
Yeah, apparently he had a hand in all 6 goals. And a Leicester journalist, there was a tweet doing the rounds, basically being like, I know it's the under-23s, but this guy is like some player. He's going to be an absolute star for Palace.
He's mustard.
He is, which is quite nice, isn't it? It's quite nice to have these positive things being said about Palace. I'm certainly not used to it.
I don't care if he's armoured Bruce Lee. Talking of Elise, before we move on, I don't know if either of you saw this because it was kind of hidden in a reply to the Crystal Palace Twitter account, but I want to pedal a song chant for Elise to the tune of Bound for the Reload by Oxide and Neutrino. Do you remember that song?
I do.
Nope. Did stand the test of the time, unlike Zig and Zag.
Yeah, it definitely
and it's to the Casualty theme. Please tell me, Albert, you know this song.
Yeah, I do. Listen, full disclosure, I know what you're talking about, but I was hoping me saying no would only encourage you further to sing it with full gusto.
Oh, I'll happily sing it, but it's it's the one with the Casualty theme where bound for the reload.
Bam to the Bamford.
When I say, you say, we say, Elise make some noise, I think that could really get going. God, I'm so disappointed. This is like original. No one is chanting to Oxide Neutrino bands.
I wonder why. No, do you know what?
Then,
it's more the delivery than the concept that's made me disappointed. You know, you kind of just spoke it like you're on speaker's corner.
Get your horn out, the brr, 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 and then maybe it'll get me going. Anyway, all right. We'll try and do that with a bit more gusto at some point.
Yeah,
I'll get pissed up at a game and just sing it when he scores, and then see if anyone joins in. I'm not shy in the stands. Yeah, You may have heard that the Match Report podcast came into all sorts of difficulties. It's kind of akin to trying to listen to Hesketh's voice for more than 5 minutes at a time. It just all goes to pot.
Yeah,
do you know what happened? Do you know what happened, Hesketh?
Please tell me.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Oh,
I just saw lots of WhatsApp messages going around.
I was going to say I don't even listen to myself these days, so listening to other people is very difficult.
Sounds like Mike Scott was like accidentally plugged into the toaster instead of his actual laptop.
I mean, we could bring in producer Sam, who is lurking in the background, to give us an in-depth review of what went wrong.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody cares. I'm not conducting a witch hunt. I just want to know whose fault it is.
Yeah, and why didn't Samantha sort it out? No, so we kind of need to do a little bit of a whiz through Spurs match report, which is not really a problem, I guess, because the buzz is still real. I'm still very excited, but mainly because Albert, there's an argument here that your magic dice predicted this game basically correctly.
Yeah, I mean it's got the margin right, didn't it? Which I'll take. Do I get half a point for that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm giving it to you, mate. I think the dice predicted 4-1, and we all laughed and said, "Well, that was a 1 week only thing." But 3-goal margin's good enough. Maybe you just didn't roll it quite properly.
Well, not for the first time.
So anyway, we'll hold them to later so we can find out what the score's
going to
be.
Start warming them up now.
A few practice rolls.
Yeah.
Where do we start with this game? I mean, there were signs, bits and bobs against Brentford in the 0-0 that it was coming together. Didn't score, obviously, and Brentford had a few chances. We go to West Ham, we score a couple of goals, show some good fight, have a really good second half. Really good at Watford in the League Cup just before that as well. Obviously didn't score again there, but we scored 2 at West Ham. And then first half against Tottenham, first 10 minutes is a bit of a scrap back and forth. And then Hesketh, we end up putting our sort of slowly, sort of in Tanganga Zaha-esque fashion, we put our hands around their throats a little bit. And then we just slowly just squeeze it tighter and tighter and tighter for about the last 70 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's really hard to find anything to be miserable about this week, which is I'm just not used to it. Going into the bar after the game is usually, an hour of me and friend of the show, Miserable Dave, moaning. But this week we were all just in there saying, "Oh, that was quite good. What do we talk about now?" But yeah, it was great. Like you say, I think the first 10 minutes was a bit scrappy, but yeah, we were comfortably the better team, regardless of the red card. We created the chances. We were playing the better football. The passing was good. The tempo was good. And the fact that you see, Harry Kane for the first time ever in a full match didn't have a touch in the opposition box says everything. So, even if you're, concentrating on the defence was absolutely superb. There was nothing in the team that could have been better, I don't think.
Touch or a shot. He did not have a touch or a shot.
Yeah, brilliant.
Which is, I guess, Albert, testament to our brand spanking, fresh out the box, new centre-back pairing in Gay and or Gurhey for Hesketh's ears, and Anderson, who have, well, with the exception, I guess, of one little mistake for Anderson at Upton Park, Filbert Street, Upton Park. This is the retro Back of the Nest preview podcast.
Turn quickly, Kevin.
At the Taxpayer Stadium, they've basically been faultless since then.
Yeah, absolutely. Their quality, and I just look at what they're Gay's fantastic. He goes on little crazy runs, little tribute to Sacco at the top of the show. He's really capable of all of a sudden he's got his foot on the ball and he's meandering through the sort of the midfield. But then what I can't take my eye off, the way Anderson passes. I think his passing's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the only game I've seen in person live this season was the Watford game. I know you're all going to fucking make fun of that. But just his passing then is just, he can ping the ball. He's just, his passing's outrageous. And if Vieira's trying to, make us build from the back, then he's got two players who, there's always a question mark over, is Guaita comfortable with the ball at his feet? All Guaita needs to do is literally just pass the ball 10 yards to one of those two, and we're going to start building something. And Saturday was another example of that. We were faultless. I mean, it was such an amazing performance. Nobody, as I said on TalkSport that evening before I got cut off, bad signal. There was nobody there that was less than 8 out of 10, and even I think you can make a case for that being a bit harsh.
Yeah, it was excellent. I mean, between them, you get the double threat for the opposition in terms of both of them can carry the ball, so they can pass around the first level of press and then break into that next line and carry the ball forward, and then both can pass from there. Or if you overcommit in trying to press them when they're passing at the back, you got Anderson who can just ping the ball 70 yards across the field and get in behind if you press too high up. So we carry threat, whatever the opposition does, in trying to stop our centre-backs building out from the back. So it's incredible to watch. And I mean, I got very, very carried away, or at least probably not. Like I don't remember us playing better than that for an entire 90 minutes. I've racked my brains, and even when we spanked Leicester 5-0 or we beat Arsenal 3-0 at Selhurst, we've beat Leicester giving them a good old hiding at their place a couple of times as well. Since we've come up, we've just not played like that. And then it just got me thinking, have I ever seen us play that well for 90 minutes? And I'm really not sure I have. Like in times we've slaughtered teams in the past, that thinking all the way back to when we won 6-1 and 4-1 back to back in the late 90s. Even then, the other team scored, they had chances. It's just this Spurs didn't have a sniff. That expected goals of 0.09 is just laughable, really. And it was only because the only reason they had it, I think the two shots is one of them was attempting to be a cushion down header, which went wide, and it looks like they've classed it as a shot because there was nothing else other than a shot straight down Guaita's neck. So to be that comprehensive against a team that possesses, the talent that they have, of course, Son wasn't there and Spurs are a different side when Son's on it. But without Son, we could, I think it enabled us a lot more to be able to really put our foot on the neck, because if you looked at points in that game, even before Spurs had gone down to 10 men, Anderson and Gay were 5 yards inside the Spurs half, and all the Spurs players were penned back because we just had no pace to worry about in behind us. I think the only one time they got remotely in behind us, it was pushed too far out wide anyway, and Anderson just dealt with it when eventually caught up. I mean, that's his only downfall. Anderson is he's not the quickest man in the world, but just brilliant from them, absolutely brilliant. And then moving up the pitch, MacArthur and Gallagher function so well together, and a smiling Conor Gallagher, Albert. He just seems to smile all the time.
Yeah, he reminds me of there's that. Do you remember that famous clip of Jimmy Bullard when Duncan Ferguson? I can't think. Duncan Ferguson's leveled someone. And Jimmy Bullard, Jimmy Bullard does that weird semi-smile, that seems to be Conor Gallagher's face all the time. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. He just looks like he's just well happy with whatever's going on. And it's nice to see. He was great. I can't add to anything more that you said. Everybody played well. The way we tried to play. What really stood out for me was the little sort of 15, 18-yard incisive passes, from sort of out wide into the box to Benteke, trying to get those balls to stick and looking for someone like Gallagher to be running off. Just the fact that we kept probing that way was something I haven't seen us do. I mean, it might have happened once upon a time, but I can't sit here and go, oh, it reminds me of when we used to play under Peter Taylor. Obviously, that would be absolute horseshit. But yeah, it was just such a refreshing performance. And, I think in a way, it's a shame that Spurs had 10 men for the last third of the game, because I think it's quite easy for the narrative to become, oh, well, it was 0-0 and they lost a man, and that's when Palace scored their 3 goals. But we were all over them just as much with 11 men on the pitch, and we were playing exactly the same way. And if that game had finished 0-0, for example, and they had, whether they had 10 or 11 men, we'd have come away there thinking, how on earth did we not win that game? It was a game where we really dominated. And we haven't, and I'm not going to name names, but under previous managers, we've not dominated teams who are like, rooted bottom, 10 points adrift. That's just not been what we've been about. So to see us do it against one of the most informed teams of the league so far this season, albeit with a pretty weak midfield 3 that they had, it's all credit to them, and it wasn't a fluke. It was a much deserved win.
Yeah, and I don't even think the 10 men can be an argument, because any Palace fan worth their salt knows, Hesketh, what happens when the team goes down to 10 men?
Well, exactly. I think everyone around me was like, we're losing this 1-0.
Everyone around you with a megaphone was telling everyone we're losing this 1-0.
And then everyone just nodding to shut me up.
Yeah.
But, jokes aside, the way that we, after the red card, the way that we just really, stepped on the gas, made a substitution where we brought on Édouard, made another substitution where we brought on another attacking player in Elise. And again, it's not to dig out Roy, but that ain't happening last year. That ain't happening the year before. It's so nice to be like, all right, we're on the front foot, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring on more attacking players to get more goals. And it worked. I don't think anyone expected Édouard to score after 25 seconds, whatever it was. But, seeing him make those runs against a tired team, and then having Elise run at them, when they're a tired team, because we'd worked them so hard. It's just, like you say, it's great to watch. And after we went 2-0 up, I turned to Vanessa and we're just like, we're actually really good now. And that's weird for me to say it, because we all know I'm really miserable. But legitimately, like, you can't watch that game against Spurs and not think that we're now a really good team, So, yeah, fun. And Wilf was back to his best as well, wasn't he?
Well, Wilf was back to his best. And I think he was really decent up until the point when he got into the fight with Tanganga. Any respect earned for you, Hasia, from Tanganga saying, "Oh, fuck you up, you pussy-o"?
Yeah, brilliant. Like, I love seeing stuff like that when you know what happens afterwards. Like, we've just got to stand there and wave him off the pitch. See you later, mate.
Say, if you're going to take a shot at the king, make sure you don't miss, right? Because he missed and he scored. And I definitely think Will's celebration was kind of like, it felt like he was very, very aware of it, all of that, like astutely aware, because the little wave he just did, like holding his arm up, just like, yeah, that's right. But but no, Wilf, I tweeted out saying, I'm looking for all the Wilf slander today on Twitter, and I can't find any, because there's been a lot of people talking a lot of shit about Wilfried Zaha in recent weeks, and they are all very, very, very quiet now. And I don't even know where it's come from as well, just on the grounds that, really decent performances up to this point. It's just not, we've not necessarily always seen the dribbling, taking players on Wilf. We saw a lot more of that against Spurs. But everyone forgets, and we've talked about in the pod in recent weeks, how good of a passer he is as well. And that's being exploited by Vieira, and it's being allowed to be exploited by Conor Gallagher. Keep doing it. Him and Conor Gallagher getting very, very close to each other. If you look at Conor Gallagher's passing map, you'll see there's lots of short passes around the flanks where you can see all that triangles, the give and goes, like it was for the cross that won the penalty. Them two playing 1-2s down the right there. Albert, Spurs fans moaned a lot about the referee. Can't be any argument about the penalty decision, can there?
Well, one of the Spurs fans in my house complained quite vocally about the penalty decision, and actually, to be fair to everybody else, he got put back in his place very quickly. Yeah, like his hands, at 90 degrees to his body. Yeah, it's like he's flagging a taxi.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's just
yeah. No question. It's the linesman flagged it straight away. I'm not even sure VAR fucking looked at it. Like, if they did, it was a bit like, yeah, fine. It was a pen.
And any surprise that Zaha just picked the ball up and went, "This is mine, bruv." Didn't even look at Luka. Luka was kind of like, "Am I taking it?" Or Zaha taking on the responsibility for these things now?
I'm not going to say that I was like, "Oh, great, Zaha's taking it." Obviously, I love seeing Wilf score, and he deserved it. But yeah, I was a bit surprised when he was stepping up to take it, but listen, he put it away.
Well, is it 3 out of 3 or 4 out of 4 now for Wilf? He's got he's not missed. I think it's the second time that he's been on the pitch since he started taking penalties, and Luka's been on the pitch, and Luka missed his last one, so he did miss his last one, didn't he? He's missed one recently. Luka's missed. He's missed one recently. He's missed a couple of his last 5, I guess, something like that.
Didn't miss his New Year's Eve party.
This is true. So yeah, good. And he said in an interview after, free kicks, you're going to see him on free kicks. If he can take corners, he'll take some corners. And I wonder if that's part of Patrick Vieira's influence as well, of being like, don't limit yourself. Like, sky's the limit with your potential. Do what you're doing. Take penalties, score penalties. So interesting flex, Hesketh, from Spurs to tweet the following day, "What a debut for Emerson Royal," with a picture of him standing over Wilf on the floor when the referee gave a goal kick, which was very, very clearly a corner.
And also in half of the picture, the background, it says Crystal Palace 2, Spurs 0. To be fair, I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw that. But to be fair, the first reply was from a Tottenham fan, and it's like, just leave it for today, lads. Just don't worry about it for today.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet on it as well, being like, "Should Spurs fans even be on social media right now? Like, just get off."
I thought you were going to do that thing where you say, "Oh, I saw a tweet," and you read it out, and I'm like, "Yeah, that was mine." Like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm still not over that. I think about it. It lives in my head rent free, that mistake.
And that's fine. This week I put it as the worst performance from a Royal since Prince Andrew's BBC interview.
I did see that. Very, very, very good. If only he broke into as much of a sweat as Prince Andrew did, then maybe Spurs might have got something. But
doesn't sweat, mate. Don't know what you're on about.
Édouard then comes on now. One of the lines in the Édouard song is, "I don't need to sell my soul, he's already in me." Albert, he was already in me after 25 seconds. That was it. I was completely sold. Is there anything better than a new bought striker coming on and scoring immediately?
I mean, I nearly dropped my hot dog. That's how good it was. Yeah, well, it's only when you in the post game analysis, and when you're looking at all the reaction that it's the fastest debut goal in Premier League history. It's almost to the point where I didn't even necessarily know he was on the pitch. All of a sudden, he's just banging the goal in, and it's such a that's the type of striker, or it's the type of chance that. Normally that sort of smash and grab sort of, I'm not going to call it a scuff shot because that's being harsh, but it's squeezed in, isn't it, at the far post? And that's the sort of thing we see Wilf do, once a season, twice a season. But to know that we've got a striker now that's going to hopefully convert those scrappy half chances, because he did kind of make it out of nothing.
Yeah.
To see that.
That is exactly right, is that we haven't had that. And that is a goal scorer right there. Like, the pass, the cross is a little bit behind him. He's managed to control it, get it out of his feet, all in one touch, and then just get the shot away, get it through the legs. Like, our players never seem to get shots through the legs of players. It's always the amount of... I feel like we have more blocked shots than any team in the entire Premier League, it feels like, because we just never get through. I mean, just look at Ayew earlier in the game. He had a couple that he couldn't get through. And yeah, just that natural goal-scoring instinct. And Hesketh, you were there. What was it like on the Homesdale? It was just... I just went nuts.
Yeah. I was going to say instinctive is a word that I used for him as well. It was just he knew exactly what he was doing. And it went crazy. I mean, the bloke who I was standing next to, my mate, he's a big fella, punched me in the head. He reckons it was by accident as part of the celebration, but he punched me in the head and knocked my glasses off. So for about 2 seconds, I was blindly waving my arms around trying to find my glasses. But no, it was great. I mean, the atmosphere all game was brilliant, I thought. Best in ages and ages. Obviously helped by the performance. But the noise level when you see the shot creep in for the 2-0 was just, mad. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it.
And then, of course, he follows it up very promptly in the last minute of stoppage time with his second, which led to all the stats coming out that he's on course to score. What does he get? 30 goals per 90 minutes is his goal scoring rate at the moment, which is some going.
Like I say, it's what we've been missing, isn't it? We've missing a 30 goal a game striker for ages.
Yeah, but it's unbelievable. It's very exciting. Will he continue to score goals at that rate? Who knows? But he's already scored more than Ayew scored in about 60 games in 8 minutes of football. So it's a great start, and already starting to, as Rio Ferdinand said after the game on the BT coverage, very starting to look like a bargain already. So exciting times. Let's talk about man of the match. It was given to Wilfried Zaha by Jermaine Jenas on BT Sport. I mean, I was obviously at the game, but I've watched the coverage back about 4 times already, so I can quote them all. Albert, who is your man of the match?
I don't like to agree with Jermaine Jenas, but on this occasion I have to.
And Hesketh?
Yeah, Wilf. There was a lot of good performances, but I think he was the top guy for sure.
Yeah, I think Will shades it from Gallagher for me. I think you got to give shout outs to James McArthur, was also excellent. And Tyreek Mitchell grew into the game massively. And I talked last week about saying, or was it a week before, a perfect transfer window would have been bringing in another left back. But I mean, I think he's had a bit of a rocky start to the season. He had a little bit of a rocky start to this game, but he just got more and more confident as the game went on, and he's driving forward. That point when he got to the byline and clipped the cross in, just left that Emerson Royal bloke for absolute dead. And then he's got the confidence. He's trying to lift the ball over players' heads as he's coming forward and stuff like that. And then if teams have that to worry about down the left, as well as Zaha on top, as well as Gallagher getting into channels on the inside as well, it's just, as Will said in his interview after, you're going to see us score goals and chances come because of this process. And it was really interesting. Zaha talked about hoofing the ball, like obviously talking about how we've been playing for the last few years and trusting in this process. But it's also compounded that by Andros Townsend, who obviously scored that worldie for Everton. And that just, I turned it on like 2 seconds before he scored. I think he was in the same boat as me, Hesketh. I turned it on seconds later, he scored. And he just looks like a different player. Nearly put another one into the net. He did hoof it into the net. But then in his post-match interview, he then basically said, for the last 4 years, I've been learning the defensive side of the game and becoming a more dependable player, where here it's just score goals, get assists. Do you think that all the players are thriving on this freedom now, Hesketh, that Vieira's given them, so they don't have to, it's less worry about where you are defensively and more worry about, even when you are defending, it's proactively on the front foot in their, for our final third, like trying to get the ball off of their defenders. That's a bit different defending as opposed to actually, I'm trying to stop a winger from dribbling past me, via Zaha, for example.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, we're not used to it, but when you have the ball, the opposition can't score, and the higher up the pitch you get it off them, the better offensively and defensively. I think if you look at both the Brentford and Tottenham games at home, neither team really created much, in terms of shots against us. So it's obviously working, and far from us just sitting and defending a 0-0 as we have done many times last year, even though we failed to get the 0-0. It just seems like not only are we scoring more goals, creating more chances, but it sort of alleviates a lot of the pressure on the defence and the defensive side of the game up that end of the pitch. So, yeah, I mean, we all thought last year that we had a squad that was capable of doing more than we were seeing. And now that we've got a more progressive way of playing football, plus obviously the really good transfer window we had, at the moment, I mean, it's all looking really positive, and you hope that the more we continue to play like that and play with these players playing with each other, that will improve and improve and improve. And, when you got someone like Wilf specifically picking out the tactics as a reason why we're better and why he's enjoying his game and why he thinks we've got a lot more to offer even still, I think it says a lot about where we were and where we are now.
Lovely. Someone tweeted us this week and said, it was a very puerile podcast, which I think we took as a compliment. I think they meant it in a good way. But someone also tweeted us saying, preview podcast started talking about the game 38 minutes in. So I think we're about 45, 46 minutes in this week. We're going to preview, but obviously we've had to cover the Spurs game there. Liverpool are just on absolute fire. All sorts of nonsense. Their home form's incredible. It's going to be really, really, really tough. And no more so than 13-0 across the last 3 games is the aggregate score between Palace and Liverpool. Albert, is this a good yardstick for where we are if we can go to Liverpool and, basically not get spanked? Is it a good measuring stick for how far we've come in this short time under Vieira?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you've said there that's controversial. They're a fantastic side. They're scoring goals for fun. I keep getting flashes of when we beat the Liverpool press and scored that banging goal a few seasons ago, and think, well, we might be able to do that this weekend, especially when you've got a 30 goal a game striker. So we've got nothing to fear. I think it's one of those opening game against Chelsea, champions of Europe. You think, well, yeah, look, get turned over 3-0, no shame there. Brentford was very cagey, 2 teams sort of feeling each other out. West Ham were one of the form teams in the league at the time when we faced them, and we came out of that relatively unscathed. Same for Tottenham. I think it's a bit of an understatement for the Tottenham game. We'll go to Liverpool with our tails up, confident that it's one of them. If we come away on the wrong end of a 3-0, it's not going to be dragged back down to earth with a bump and think, oh, the Spurs game was a one-off, or any level-headed Palace fans shouldn't get too down and out if we get turned over by Liverpool. But who knows? We're gonna go there very confident, and I don't think we're in the mould now of going there and just taking it easy and seeing what happens. I think we'll go there and we'll try and win. And if we come away on the wrong end of it, it'll be because we've tried to stick the ball down their end of the pitch rather than just watching it come towards us wave after wave.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see if we do that, because obviously that wasn't the case at Chelsea. We didn't do that. We went there and just kind of sat back and let Chelsea dictate the play, and it obviously didn't work out for us. And it was only in the second half when we actually started to try and play like we have been in the last few weeks that it made a difference. So it'll be interesting to see if he decides to go and sit back a bit more, if we actually try and get on the front foot. And as always, as we always say when we play Liverpool, Hesketh, they get attable because Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are up the pitch all of the time, and we have got the players in behind who can exploit that. So the game plan is going to be interesting to see what he does. Do you fear going head to head with Liverpool because of the firepower they have up top, or now are you a bit more, well, no more 30-goal game jokes, but we have a bit of firepower ourselves up top now.
I'm certainly wary of Sadio Mane being on 99 goals for Liverpool or whatever it is, because
I think it's 98 Premier League goals, 98 goals for Liverpool.
There you go.
Yeah, 98 goals for Liverpool. Yeah,
he for sure is hitting 100. So if Patrick Vieira's got anything about him, we're going to have to go and win 3-2. It'll be really tough, and likely they'll beat us, and that's, like Albert said, it's no shame. Same in the Chelsea game where they're just good and they will beat loads of teams and have been beating loads of teams. But I'll also be really interested to see how we match up, because obviously in previous games we've sort of done the try not to let a goal in, and then we have and haven't really known what to do. Certainly last year, but this year, it'll be interesting to see what happens if we do concede. Can we still keep up the same type of game? The Chelsea game was a bit odd because it was the first game of the season. I think some players missing. But we should be confident. I mean, Tottenham were top when we played them and we absolutely demolished them. So
West Ham were top when we played them.
I think Brentford were top when we played them as well, weren't they, technically? Obviously it's going to be a really tough game, especially away, and the likelihood is they'll win. But I don't think we should be too downhearted, and I think we're more likely to see us give it a go than we have been in the last few years, which is nice.
Okay. Quick fire then. Who's starting up top, Albert? Benteke or Édouard?
Benteke.
Hesketh?
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll keep it the same.
Yeah. Potentially. I think it should be Benteke as well for at least an hour, and then put that threat in to see if we're still in the game. It'd be interesting to see if he does just reward Édouard for the 2 goals straight away with a starting spot. I think it will tell, the lineup would tell us a lot an hour before the game. So really waiting for baby breath with that one. It should be very interesting. Before we get to predictions and to Albert's magic dice, let's see if they're going to make a mockery of them, of these stats. Liverpool under 2.5 goals in 8 of their last 9 home games. So it's a low scoring affair is what we can expect. Liverpool take the lead and win, basically. 5 of their last 6 home games, they've been winning at half-time and at full-time. So expect them to score early. And they've kept clean sheets in 5 of the last 6 home games as well. So it's tough to score against them. And they take a lead and then basically hold on to it. So what's Albert's dice going to tell us? The magical dice. Did we say that 6 was 0?
Mm-hmm.
Depends on who the team is. Yeah, but yeah.
So here we go then. This is basically the game right here. You don't even need
you're kidding me.
Liverpool 0. So that's 0 then. Liverpool 0.
You'll never believe it.
6.
It's another 6.
So 0-0. The dice has spoken.
Fuck.
I mean, I would take it.
I'll take that,
yeah. Hesketh, what are you going for?
6-0 Liverpool. No.
6-6. Could be 6-6.
Yeah. Let's say 2-1 Liverpool.
I'm going to say 1-0 Liverpool. It will be Mane, inevitably. Always bloody is Mane. Right. That is a slightly long one this week. Sorry for that. No one has commutes anymore, so who cares? Or at least most of you don't. What have we had going on? You can go and watch the Palace Focus on at Back of the Nest YouTube channel where DRT and Nick Gillard was on for a bit as well. I've been talking about events in the last week at Palace. You can go and listen to the match report on Sunday, assuming they can make it work this week.
Yeah, come on, guys.
And I guess we've recorded early, so this podcast has probably been in your inboxes a bit earlier in the last couple of weeks. But it's a Monday game next week. So what do we do? Do we go back to our normal day of Wednesday and let everyone really enjoy the build up to Brighton, or do we go a bit later? What do you reckon, lads? Stick to Wednesday? Hands in the air. Who knows? We'll figure it out. It'll probably be Wednesday, I reckon. And then we can, it's Brighton. It's the big one. Brighton at home. Glad we've got up and running and started playing. I was really worried that it was going to take us a little bit longer than it has, but there'll be obviously a lot of expectation going into that Brighton game, who have obviously also started very well, albeit a very easy start that Brighton have had. They've taken advantage of it and been scoring the goals. So another interesting matchup when we get to it. But don't stress about that yet, Hesketh. We've got a week and a half to go to that one, mate. And of course, even before we play Liverpool this weekend, they've got a tough game against AC Milan on Wednesday night in the Champions League. And Saturday is not an easy thing to do, especially for 3 o'clock on a Saturday. So fingers crossed we can go to Anfield and hopefully get that 0-0 that the magic dice have talked of. We'll give it to you if it's any draw, I guess, Albert. Dice would have won again, so we shall see. But until next week, up the Palace.